Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakotitamapprabha Nirvighna Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parambrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Hitaye Sarva Vidyanam Shaye Bhavaroginam Gurave Sarva Lokanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Apara Karuna Sindhum Jnanadam Shantarupinam Sri Chandrasekhara Gurum Pranamami Mudanam Om Namaste, Namaste to all the viewers of this special webinar called Timeless Wisdom for Eternal Happiness. Welcome to all of you. Hope all of you are safe and healthy at your respective homes. The topic we have taken today is timeless wisdom for eternal happiness. The topic itself is quite loaded. Each and every word in this topic has a meaning. If you look at the words timeless and eternal, and there is wisdom and happiness. They are connected. So we all know what is happiness. We get happiness by doing something, getting something. But we want eternal happiness. So the fundamental concept is anything that is impermanent cannot give eternal happiness. So impermanent things can never give eternal happiness. First point. So if you want eternal happiness, it has to come from something that has been ever existent, that is timeless. That's why timeless. The timeless aspect of what we're going to discuss is very important. That will give eternal happiness and wisdom. So we all get happiness through various means, but that is not born out of wisdom. It is born out of something else which we'll discuss. Wisdom alone can give us happiness. So that wisdom which has been clearly enumerated by our ancient sages, which is timeless wisdom, alone can give us eternal happiness. So we'll see how it's going about. So since there is timeless wisdom, I need to start connecting with a timeless saying in an old language, ancient language in Sanskrit. So I will first recite that saying and then I'll explain the meaning, because that forms the basis of our entire discussions and discovery of this eternal happiness. The saying says in Sanskrit, Sukham me sarvada bhuyat, Dukkham ma bhut kadachana, Iti ichhe sarvasamanye, Te jnanadeva siddhyataha. Sukham me sarvada bhuyat. Sarvada bhuyat. Everybody wants happiness. Sarvada, always. You want uninterrupted happiness. If you are happy, then you think, oh, this happiness should last forever, right? Sarvada sukham bhuyat. We wish for that. Dukkham abhut kadachana. In between, no amount of unhappiness or sorrow, which is called dukkha, it should not come. Dukkham abhut. Should never, that we should not get any sorrow in between. We wanted uninterrupted, unalloyed joy. That's what we are all doing everything in our life for. Iti che sarvasamanye. Who has got this desire for what? Uninterrupted happiness, which means no sorrow should interrupt our happiness. Who wants this? Iti che sarvasamanye. Everybody wants this. Samanya is from the common person. In fact, our ancient wisdom says that right from a small living being, like an ant, to the greatest individual, maybe the gods, the creator, everybody wants this. What? Uninterrupted, unalloyed, free-flowing, ever-living happiness. Now, you want uninterrupted happiness, but no sorrow. For that, we have to have something. And the saying says that te means these two things. Because sometimes we get happiness, right? After some time we get sorrow. So two things are: one, we should always be happy. Two, we should not get any sorrow, right? These two things is possible jnanat eva siddhyataha. It is possible only by jnana. Jnana means wisdom. That's why the title for this talk, for the webinar, is Timeless Wisdom for Eternal Happiness. Because the wisdom alone, the wisdom that is timeless alone, can give us that eternal happiness. Now, some people may argue, no, it is impossible to get this eternal happiness. This is only an illusion. No. But our ancient sages have clearly enumerated a systematic methodology to attain. It's not attainment, but for now I'll say it's attainment, to get and enjoy this eternal happiness. So, we all should not forget this particular concept, that wisdom alone can get us eternal happiness. So, why wisdom alone is the cause we will now discover. Now the next question arises: can this be obtained only by a select few people? That means, do you need money, possession, some other things? What are the requirements to enjoy and always be in this state of eternal bliss or eternal happiness? Our ancient wisdom says everybody is eligible for attaining this eternal happiness, irrespective of gender, religion, nationality, age. You can belong to any section of society, any country, and you can still attain this eternal happiness. So we will discover how. But for that, we all need wisdom. Wisdom is nothing but profound knowledge. Knowledge is something we acquire, that's called jnana, right? That profound knowledge, when it comes into experience, that becomes wisdom. When you live by your knowledge, when you live by what you have clearly attained as knowledge, jnana, that becomes wisdom. So the fundamental requirement here is wisdom, knowledge, which is called jnana, which can be attained only by education. That is called Vidya in Sanskrit. So unless we are educated in this aspect, we get education in so many fields. We are all very qualified. We could be engineers, doctors, lawyers, doing so many different professions. We are learning so many things. But this knowledge, which helps us attain and stay in that state of eternal happiness, that is a special knowledge. All knowledge is called Vidya. This is also called a Vidya. Now, this Vidya, the knowledge, is the biggest strength of human beings. I will say one more Sanskrit saying which clearly differentiates why we as human beings are endowed with a special quality to get knowledge, which separates us from other kinds of living beings. And this knowledge is what will take us towards that eternal happiness. It says, Ahara Nidra Bhayamaithunanam Samanya Metat Pashubhihi Naranam. I will explain the meaning. Buddhirhi Tesham Adhiko Visheshaha Buddhya Vihina Pashubhis Samanaha. It says, this Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithuna. That means eating, sleeping, having fear, and procreating. Samanya Metat Pashubhir Naranam. It is common to all human beings as well as animals. Pashubhi means animals. Buddhirhi tesham adhiko visheshaha. Tesham manushyanam. For the human beings, that buddhi, that is intellect, the means to get knowledge, the means to get vidya, adhiko vishesha. That is a special quality, special equipment that we have been bestowed. Buddhya vihinah pashubhis samanaha. If you don't use your intellect to attain greater things in life, then there is no difference between human beings and animals. So the focus to attain the eternal happiness is intellect, buddhi. And this is not some scientific knowledge or some special knowledge of a particular biology or chemistry or physics or space science. No. It is proper analysis of where we stand, what we are doing, what we are undergoing, what is right and what is wrong. And we will discover. So, two things. Only by knowledge that eternal happiness is possible. And all of us as human beings, irrespective of nationality, gender, religion, community, anything, all of us have been endowed with this intellect. And with this intellect and proper analysis and integrating the understanding or wisdom that we obtain through this process into our lives, that's important. It is not some bookish knowledge. There is a difference between knowledge acquired and practicing in our daily lives. I'll give an example. Most of us know that speaking untruth or speaking lies is not good, is not correct. Always we should speak the truth. If you have any discussion, people say, no, we should always speak the truth. It is said in the Vedas, Satyam Vada. But this is knowledge, right? Are we able to practice it in our daily lives? It remains only as an intellectual understanding, as something that is we know. So, knowledge, this wisdom has to be integrated into our daily lives That's when we will attain and stay in the state of eternal happiness. That we should not forget. Now, why am I saying that wisdom is the fundamental for reaching that state? For that, we need to analyze how are we getting happiness, right? All of us are undergoing happiness, and also it comes in parts. Then something happens, that happiness goes away, we get some sorrow. Once again, we seek happiness, we do something and we get happiness, right? It goes on and off, right? All of us want peace of mind, but sometimes our mind is in pieces. So we should not allow our mind to go into pieces. So the peace of mind and happiness are one and the same. We'll discover that. So now if you see, our present day thinking of happiness is something we get. Happiness is something we get by doing something. See how you analyze ourselves as an individual, right? We have been bestowed with these 5 key organs of knowledge. The eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin, right? Through this, we see something, get happiness. We hear something, get happiness. We smell something, we get happiness. We taste something, it's kind of good food. If you have a good food, then that gives us happiness. If you touch and feel something, or feel somebody, that gives happiness. So this happiness that today we are enjoying is derived from these 5 sense organs of knowledge, everything going and finally registering things in the mind. So, see, these sense organs are only a means of communicating something to the mind. Observe carefully. They all relay something to the mind, and the mind, which was not in a state of happiness, on getting this information from these 5 sense organs, experiences a state of happiness. That's what is happening. I'll give an example. For example, if we believe that traveling to the United States and probably seeing the Niagara Falls gives us happiness, we have been given another equipment called this body. We move this body. If you're in India, you take a flight, go to the US, and I understand you should go to an airport called Albany, and from there you have to drive and take this body and put it in front of the Niagara Falls and see. And once you see it, say, what a beautiful sight. I'm so happy. So what happened in the entire process? This body as a vehicle moved this sense organ called eyes, took it to a place, presented that Niagara Falls to us, and then we experience that happiness. Now, how long can you be staying there? You can probably go in the morning and stay till evening. And by the time it is getting to dusk or darkness, they'll say, please go away, the park is getting closed. So even if you think that something like a sight of Niagara Falls is going to give us happiness, that will still be transient. For the period that you are experiencing that sight, you will get the happiness. If at all you believe that is the source of happiness, then once you move away from the place, start driving back, then Niagara Falls is not there. So you start thinking, what is the next source of my happiness? Probably some dinner in some good restaurant. Now you cannot travel. Now times are different. I'm talking about times when people are traveling and going there and things are happening. So go to a restaurant, have some good food. The taste of the good food is related to the mind, and then the mind gets some happiness. But that also will be transient, it will go away. So, if at all, and let me ask you another question here. If any place or any food was the source of happiness, so I'm focusing on where all we are seeking happiness. We think a place will give us happiness, we think good food will give us happiness. I'll come to other things, money, comfort, etc. Let's focus on, say, some good food. Now, this eternal happiness means should be eternal. And what is the definition of eternal? It should be able to give happiness of the same quality, of the same quantity, and always. Right? So if eating good food was a source of happiness, you imagine your favorite dish. How much can you eat? After eaten a few rounds or whatever, then you are saturated. Even though you may like that, that particular food will not be a source of joy because you're already full. Similarly, if probably a particular a sweet dish is a source of happiness, it is source of happiness for people who don't have issues related to sugar, that is diabetes, etc. Right? So that entity, which is a sweet dish, may give happiness to somebody, but to somebody else, the source of unhappiness. So, any entity, fundamentally, because it is limited by time and space and quality, three aspects limit any entity. Because of the fact that it has got limitations, it is limited, it cannot give unlimited joy. See, any limited entity cannot give unlimited joy. Only an unlimited thing can give unlimited output. So, limited input, limited output. Unlimited input only can give unlimited output. So, this is what I want you to recognize, that the daily happiness and sorrow we are going through, we are seeking happiness from different entities. It could be a place, it could be good food that we can taste, or good music we can hear, or something we can smell, something we can taste, and something to achieve, something to know. And we may say, no, you're totally illogical. Money gives us happiness. If you have a lot of money, then you'll be eternally happy. You give me a lot of money, I'll put a lot of money in my bank or wherever, and then I'll be eternally happy. If money was the source of happiness, then all the richest people in the world should be the happiest people. You may want to do some research, it is not so. Even if you have money, to enjoy the money, you will need to have good health. Suppose you want to travel, you want to have good food and use the money, your body should cooperate. You need to have good health. Then to share, you need relationships. So you need health, you need relationships, you need all other supporting aids to enjoy the money. Just having money is no use. You have to use the money to enjoy, right? So for that you need a lot of things. And just think, are all these things going to be with you forever? Your health, will it be the same when you are, say, 25, 30? Will it be the same at 60, 70? What relationship you have? Are they going to be permanent? If you take the journey of life, some relationships come during the process. Either the other party leaves or goes away, or me as an individual goes away. So there is separation. There is union, there is separation of relationship. They are never permanent. So, in any way you look at it, whether it is a location where we take a holiday, we want to go to some hill station, or we want to have some good food, or money, or position, or power. Position. To retain a position, nowadays how people are having so many challenges. I don't need to go in detail. In every part of the world, every leader has got a problem in maintaining their position, right? So if you all work hard to get a position, but the amount of stress people undergo to maintain that position is actually laughable if you just look at it. So position, possession, entities, individuals, relationships, money, comfort. How much comfort can you keep on enjoying? You think sleeping well in a very good pot gives me happiness? How long can you keep on sleeping? 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours? After that, you have to get up because if you don't, the body will start decaying. You have to start going around, right? So, and we think that we progress in life. So, when I go to school, I do something and then I learn, I get a degree, I get a job, or I earn money. So, I get into a family, I get a relationship. We all believe that we will achieve happiness as we progress. I'm not happy now. Suppose I have a relationship, I'll be happy. Suppose I have children, I'll be happy. Suppose I earn wealth, I'll be happy. Suppose I get a position, I'll be happy. So why is it that we are seeking happiness? It's called seeking happiness by progression. Progressively, we want to achieve happiness by attaining something. Because we are not happy in our present state. We seek something to give us happiness because we are not happy right now. Right? So I like to relate one shloka from a great philosopher, Sri Adi Shankaracharya. He says, and I'll tell the meaning, because his timeless wisdom, some of these sayings are really, it awakens us to where we are and what we should do. So it says, Balyastavat krida saktaha. Tarunastavat taruni saktaha. Vriddhastavat chinta saktaha. Parame brahmani kopina saktaha. Very simple. It comes in a set of slokas in a poem called Bhajagovindam, which some people may know. It says, Balyastavat krida saktaha. Asaktaha means very interested, attached. When you're a young kid or boy, you're interested in a lot of playing games. Today, all this mobile, computer game, that people are very interested. When we were young, we used to go outdoor and play cricket. And when you win a game, you feel so happy. Then, tarunastavat taruni saktaha. I don't need to explain. When you are in youth, you want company, you want relationship, you find happiness in relationships, right? Vriddhastavat, after you get established or whatever, then you become old. Vriddhastavat chinta saktaha. Then you become old, you start worrying. Why this happened? Why that happened? That should not have happened. This has happened. This may happen. Should not happen. Parame brahmani kopina saktaha. The Brahman is actually the nature of eternal happiness. Nobody is spending time trying to get to and work towards that eternal happiness. We get busy with so many things in our lives. We never ever even spend a minute to think. We are moving from point to point. This is source of my joy. And after some time, it doesn't help me. You move something. You keep on moving. From one entity to another entity seeking happiness. But we have not taken a step back and thought. That's why wisdom, knowledge. Why is this happening? Why is this happiness transient? Why is this happiness not eternal or permanent? Because we have not engaged in this process of thinking, analysis, which is called vichara in Sanskrit. Vichara in Sanskrit. We have not done this vichara, and we are so busy with our lives. Extremely busy. Everybody is very busy. From morning, you get up to night, you go to bed, lot of activities. No time to think. That's why we said we'll take 1 hour on a Saturday and at least spend some time and think. At least reflect. Everything that we are discussing today is a reflection of our daily life. I'm not talking about something that's happening somewhere or something happened thousands of years back. No, it is not story of any person. It is our own story. It is our story. So this is our story. So we are going from point to point seeking happiness, and that happiness is never permanent. So you may say, so should we give up all these things? No. I am not saying you should give up anything. You use it to the extent that is required for leading your lives. But remember that that particular entity or place or position, comfort is not the source of permanent happiness. That you have in the background. What you need to do, you have to do. Because in life, you have to keep on moving. Things have to happen. You cannot be stationary, sitting in one place. Right? So, I am not saying you should give up anything, but recognize the fact that none of these entities can give us permanent happiness. I told you the reason why these entities cannot give permanent happiness. One thing I said was, it is limited. A limited entity cannot give unlimited output, right? Now I will give some analytical points. And now important is you have to start thinking. That analysis is important, because once you analyze, you will some truths will be revealed to you. You will start understanding something new. Then you will get some questions. Those questions need to be answered. And when you do that systematic analysis, and that analysis finally gets converted into knowledge and then profound knowledge called wisdom, then only you can get this eternal happiness. So you have to start thinking, and the best way, instead of finding something new, we take the help of the timeless wisdom that has been enumerated systematically and follow that analysis and reach the point. And then you can start questioning. But first, we have to follow that analytical approach. So I said that entities cannot give permanent happiness because they have certain deficiencies. Every entity has got some deficiencies. One deficiency I said is that they are limited. Second is, every entity has got some amount of sorrow built into it. Which means, for example, if you think that wearing a good shirt is giving you happiness, some person should have undergone a lot of toil, growing the cotton or silk and then converting it into cloth, and then somebody washing it, then putting it in such a form, and then a lot of work has happened. A lot of effort has gone in. And a lot of effort, everybody is not very happy doing a job. They may be saying, "Arey wow, I need to do this." So when this entity comes, some of the people's sorrow also is there in this. Like that in everything, whether it is a dress or a food or anything, there is some amount of sorrow that is already inbuilt. That is called a deficiency, dosha in Sanskrit. So entity is limited. It has also got some deficiency in inbuilt. So definitely it cannot give you permanent happiness. That is called in Sanskrit dukkha mishritatvam. Means dukkha, sorrow is mishritatvam. It is mixed in any entity. Then it is got incompleteness because it is not permanent, because it is limited. It can never give you complete happiness. If that alone gave you complete happiness, then with that result you should be happy. So it is happiness in parts. So that is limitation, that is happiness in parts. Then the third or the fourth most important aspect is anything that we believe is a source of happiness binds us to that. If you have that only, you will be happy. If you don't have that, you will not be happy. If you think in a warm place, having a good AC environment is what will make you happy, comfortable happiness, then that thing should be there. And you are bound. If, for example, power goes off or know that AC doesn't work, your happiness is taken away. So it binds you. So in Sanskrit it is called, I said, dukkha mishritatvam, apurnakatvam, that means it cannot give you completeness, and bandhakatvam means binds. So this is the nature of our happiness that we are experiencing on a day-to-day basis. Now, then the question is, where is this eternal happiness? You are saying that happiness, you can ask me this question, you are saying that this happiness is not in any entity, it is not there in any possession, people. Where is this? And what is required? Do I need a huge effort, lot of money, lot of people, so many things are required to go and get it? Because if I say, for example, if there is a huge treasure in that particular forest, if you go through the forest and make sure that you stay alive and you're not taken away by the wild animals, and you go to the center of the forest, there is a huge treasure buried. Then the question will be, what all I need? I need probably some people, army, weapons, so that I'm safe. I go and discover that. Similarly, we should know where this happiness is, and then what this happiness is. Right? Where, what? If you answer these two questions, then how to get it will be the next question. Where this happiness is one question. Eternal happiness. Where is this eternal happiness? What is the nature of this eternal happiness? And how to get it? And what is the eligibility criteria? Should I need anything with me? Money, some power, something should be there. Our timeless wisdom of our ancient sages says that everybody can get this. It is open to all. And where is it? Should I travel from here to say Kailash? Some people do Kailash Manasarovar Yatra. If I go there, only will I get that eternal happiness? Many people cannot go there. Right? Should I give up everything and then go retire and then keep on doing meditation? Will I get that happiness, eternal happiness? Lot of restrictions. Everybody cannot leave everything and go away. You can be where you are, what you're doing, and still get to that state, provided you are willing to follow the path laid down by our ancient sages, which is the path of wisdom. Once again, I am reiterating, it is wisdom, means what knowledge or what we discover through this analytical process that should be registered in our mind, and we should be able to practice it in our lives. So now the question is, where is this happiness? You will be very surprised. The answer is, all of us are actually of the nature of eternal happiness. Happiness, eternal happiness is not somewhere. In fact, happiness itself is not there in any entity. We discovered that, right? If an entity has got happiness, it should give the same amount, same quality, same measure forever to everybody, which is not possible. No entity can give that happiness universally to everybody. But there is something that, for now, I will say within us, that is only for argument, because actually our nature is eternal happiness. It is called Swarupa in Sanskrit, but I will say it is inside us. For now, for discussion's sake, I will say it is inside us. This eternal happiness is not anywhere else. It is very much within us. Hey, you are joking? If it is within us, or other way of saying, you are of the nature of eternal happiness, how is it that I am undergoing so much of sorrow, worries, anxiety, stress? As I said, no, instead of peace of mind, our mind is in pieces. Why? answer is, we do not know our real nature. We all know only the nature of ourselves as perceived by our 5 sense organs and the mind. So you look at ourselves, individual, and say, I am so and so, I am this body, I'm so 6 feet tall, I am so and so son, I am so and so's father. You relate to your physical features, or you relate to your intellectual quality. I am a scientist, I am a doctor, I am a lawyer, I know this. Or you relate to your state of happiness, state of mind. I am happy, I am sorrowful, I am got anxiety. So each one of us know ourselves as this entity which is externally visible and perceivable by our 5 sense organs, which is then related to the mind, and we have a concept of ourselves. I said this eternal happiness is our real nature, and for now I am saying it is inside us, right? That real nature is what we have to discover. So first step, which I call resetting our mind, if we want eternal happiness. So this is only for people who are in the pursuit of eternal happiness, is to reset ourselves to a target or a journey to discover my real nature. Now you will all argue, how can you prove that real happiness is within me? I am going to give logic which all of you can appreciate and understand how real happiness is within me, or actually I am of the nature of real happiness. Eternal happiness is something I will explain to you logically, systematically. It is not something that is to be told and then accepted. No, it is not dogmatic. No, dogmatic means something that somebody says and we have to accept it. No. This path of discovery of our true nature, which is the source of eternal happiness, is subject to all the questions that anybody can ask. And all answers have been provided by our ancient sages through their timeless wisdom. So the first reset that should happen if you want to take this path towards eternal happiness is that I need to know. I said no, that's why knowledge. Jnanat eva siddhyataha. I told you that, right? So that knowledge, we have to know something which we do not know. What is that we don't know? We don't know our true nature. And what is the true nature? That is eternal happiness. So I am actually the source of eternal happiness, or the eternal happiness is within me. For now I can say that. So, but I have to discover. You can say, if that is me, why won't I know? So I'll give an example. There was a beggar, right? A poor man running around seeking alms. He's living in a hut. And he was thinking, I have no money, I have to seek alms, take things from people and live my livelihood. And he was spending life like that. Because he didn't have any other profession or no other source of income, so he had to beg to live. When he was living like that, one great soul passed by that person's hut. And then he asked this poor man, what is happening? And the poor man said, no, I am very poor, I don't have any money, so I have to run around and do all this, taking alms. Then the great soul, that sadhu, said, you know what? In your own hut, the center portion below the ground, your father has buried huge amount of wealth, which before he could say he passed away. But I know that. So if you go inside your hut and dig that particular place, you will get a huge pot of wealth. And you don't need to run around, living this life. The person then went in and he dug up the place, the poor man. And he found a huge treasure that was buried within his own hut. So just like that person not knowing that something is hidden in his own home, it has not been revealed to him, thinks he is poor, doesn't have money, and he runs around doing something else. All of us do not know today that this huge wealth of eternal happiness is hidden here within us. We say within our heart for discussion's sake. Yo veda nihitam guhayam paramebhyo manne. So it is here. So I may say that it is hidden here, but it is not like a physical wealth where you can dig and take it, right? You have to discover that. Similarly, some people are so busy in their lives and they keep on running around, they don't know what they are wearing also. Like one lady was there, she was wearing a necklace, but suddenly thought that her necklace is lost. She went on running around asking, where is the necklace? Where is the necklace? One person said, Madam, the necklace is on your own neck. Can you see? Oh, yes, it is here only. No, I didn't realize. Like that, our mind today is dissipated in so many different activities. We are so busy with so many things, doing so many different things, trying to do new things, trying to acquire something, and spending our life, all our lives doing this, that we don't have a moment to think like that lady and say, what am I wearing? We don't have time to sit and somebody said, no, that happiness is in me. Why don't I discover that? We don't have time. You have to spend some quality time to discover this. See, we spend a lot of time to earn money. Right? If you want to earn money, you work hard, run around, go from one place to another, maybe drive 15 kilometers, work there, earn money, come back. So many things. This wealth of eternal happiness has no equal. You cannot measure it. It is infinite. It is more valuable than the most valuable diamond. You can take Kohinoor diamond or anything. That eternal happiness inside is so valuable. To acquire that, should we not spend some effort for small happiness through all these other entities? They are spending so much of effort. If you see the proportion, the amount of effort you put and the amount of happiness or joy you get from something, it is totally disproportionate. So much effort you put to get this much of happiness. But if at all we can spend some quality time to discover that eternal happiness which is within me, how much more our life will be purposeful. How much more our lives will be reaching a state of contentment, peace, happiness. Think, friends. Think. This is the time to think. Time to reset what we have thought all our lives as what is the source of happiness, joy. All that is required. So I am not for a moment saying give up everything. Use it, but don't think that they are the source of happiness. But this particular, I'll say it's a concept now, which should be proven by proper logic. It will take a lot of time. It will take a few talks. It's not going to happen today. Let me tell you that I got only another 10 minutes or maximum, 12, 14 minutes I've got. The entire thing cannot be told in this talk, but we will do a series of talks and we'll discover that path. But at this point in time, all I want our friends to do here is that recognize the impermanence of the happiness from all other sources. And that eternal happiness is my real nature, is within me. In fact, Ayurveda, which is one of the branches of knowledge of our ancient wisdom, says our natural state is a state of healthiness. Swasth, we say, no? In Hindi we say swasth hai. In Malayalam we say swasth, right? So, our natural state is state of health. Disease, problems to the body and other internal organs comes and goes. Actually, our real state is state of health. So, our real state is of eternal happiness. We have not discovered that. So, our mind is disturbed. So, happiness comes from some source. It remains with us for some time. It goes. Once again, we are back to a state of some kind of sorrow or unhappiness. We see, right? So, our real nature is that of eternal happiness. Why do we not know? Because we have not spent time to discover our real nature. We have spent time for discovering everything else, to know so many things, to achieve so-called happiness, right? We have done, why do we do everything in our life, right? From morning to evening to night. All of you, please go through your activities and through your entire lives. Every step we are taking is actually to get happiness. Nobody does anything to get sorrow or unhappiness, correct? So, prayojanam vina mandopi na pravartate. Without any benefits or happiness, even a person of dull intellect, no brain, he also won't do anything. He or she won't do anything. And every activity we are doing is to get happiness. You know, in Hindi there is a saying, "Aa bail mujhe maar." It means a bullock going on the road. Will you go and say, "Bullock, come and hit me with your horns"? No. Nobody wants to either get into trouble. Nobody wants to do something to seek unhappiness. We all are doing everything to seek happiness. But what we need to recognize now is that happiness we are seeking is not permanent. That much you should understand. Knowledge, first of all. And while we are knowledgeable in some field, we don't have knowledge in the other aspect, which is the discovery of our true nature. Once you know your true nature, then that eternal happiness will dawn and we will discover that. Okay? So, knowledge. Once again, the process is knowledge. Jnanat eva siddhyataha. Don't forget that. So, you may say, what you are saying looks only bookish. There is no logic. There is no, I'm not able to experience or even understand this so-called eternal happiness that is within me, so-called within me. So I'll tell you, how do we get happiness? We all said we get happiness from some entity or some position, place, all this, etc., etc., right? I am now going to break it down. How does happiness get generated, or how does happiness dawn in our mind is something I'm going to explain. It is very, very logical. So please listen carefully. Another 5-6 minutes we have to close and we'll have to schedule a next talk. Then we'll go in more detail. Now, for now, one logic I will give you about how that happiness dawns in the mind systematically. You know what happens, and also to prove that happiness is within me, that I have to also tell. There are multiple logics. I will tell you one logic today. Now, the process of happiness is something next we have to go. So, This is all part of discovery, knowledge, analysis, vichara, right? So let us first try to understand how this happiness originates in the mind. Normally, we get into a state of unhappiness or disturbance of the mind. State of disturbance or a disturbed mind is when some desire gets into the mind. So, for example, let me give an example. So, we all said that traveling to US and seeing Niagara Falls gives me happiness, right? So, that desire, suppose you get into the mind, that gets in, I have to see Niagara Falls, then we will be happy. Then what happens? You start the process, right? If you don't have a visa, you have to apply for visa, do everything, and then get a flight ticket, go to flight, travel 22 hours, go to the place, take another flight, and drive, do all the activities, right? In all through those steps, there's one thing that is sitting in your mind, which is, I have to see Niagara Falls. I have to see Niagara Falls. That is there sitting in the mind. See, definitely going and seeing Niagara Falls definitely gives immense happiness. Many of us have gone there and you have felt the beautiful sight. No doubt about it. But I am telling you how that happiness develops in the mind or dawns in the mind. So now what has happened is, the desire sitting in the mind that I should see Niagara Falls, that constant desire that is there is what is contributing to our state of disturbance in the mind. And now this example you can apply to everything. I'm only giving one example. Anything that you have a desire in the mind, that desire sits in our mind and creates a disturbance. Then we work to remove the disturbance. So what happens now? We do all these steps, go there and see. When we go there and see the beautiful sight of Niagara Falls, you know what happens? All through your effort for the past many days, weeks or months, that thought was lingering in the mind, I should see Niagara Falls, I should see, that's the desire sitting in the mind. Once you see with your own eyes, it's called pratyaksha in Sanskrit, right? And because pratyaksha in front of you, you know what happens? The magic happens in the mind. That desire to see Niagara Falls vanishes. That desire which was sitting as a disturbance in the mind, once you see, because you did everything for seeing that, so now once that sight is in front of you, that desire which was disturbing you vanishes. And for one moment, there is no desire that is there in the mind. That when the desire vanishes, the mind for momentarily is in a state of emptiness. In that clean, empty state, like a shining mirror, the mind is like a mirror actually. Mind actually reflects everything. One day we'll discuss that. This clean, shining mirror that is there in the mind, because it is not permeated or diffused, doesn't have any other desire sitting on blocking the purity of the mind, which is a mirror. Because it is pure and clean, it reflects that eternal happiness that is within us. It goes, reflects in the mind, because the mind didn't have the desire, disturbance went away, right? And when that eternal happiness, which is our nature, is within us, goes to the mind and reflects, we feel a sense of joy. Where did this happiness come from? It is coming from us, coming from each one of you. That happiness which is within us got reflected in the mind because the disturbance got removed. So, if that happiness was coming from somewhere else, it will not happen that when you see Niagara Falls and the mind becomes still for a moment, happiness will dawn. How will it come? If it is going to come from somewhere else, outside of you, happiness we are feeling in our mind, right? It is not somewhere else, right? So that pratyaksha, that what is there in front of us, that when we see, I said, one of the source of joy is seeing something. We can apply to so many things. We'll discuss more. But that sight of Niagara Falls removed the desire from my mind to once again seek that sight. So once that desire, which was a small thing sitting and actually covering the purity of the mind, it is the mind is impure, like a dusty mirror which cannot reflect. So many thoughts are there which doesn't allow the thoughts in the mind, which is actually covering the pure mind, which is not allowing that infinite eternal happiness within us to reflect. One small portion of that was this desire, which was sitting as small dust in our mind. When that gets removed, this infinite happiness is waiting, always waiting. When will I reflect in this individual? So, moment some space which is clean comes, that infinite happiness gets reflected in the mind, and then the mind becomes happy for some time. But what happens? Before you can even enjoy that happiness, and you can apply it to all other examples, before we can even enjoy and be in the state of happiness, some other desire, some other activity, some other thought comes and covers that small opening of that the cleanliness of the mirror, right? That in the mind, that is also getting covered. So happiness is not getting reflected. You go back to the same state, seeking happiness in something else. So friends, there are multiple logics, because I this is something that I am very insistent upon, that nothing should be dogmatic. Everything is subject to questioning. Everybody should be convinced about what we are discussing. So your questions are welcome. There is a forum to post questions. We will take it up. But since the program is of 1 hour, I need to stop at this point in time. The key points I want to summarize is that the opening statement was, for eternal happiness, only way is wisdom, and that wisdom which is eternal, that is timeless. Only timeless wisdom can give us eternal happiness. Happiness that we get from various entities is only transient. It comes and goes. So don't give up. Use them, but don't believe that they are the source of eternal happiness. And that eternal happiness is within us. In fact, we have the nature of eternal happiness. We will discuss more, but that happiness is within us. And the small example I gave was, the logic I gave was that the mind as a clean mirror is normally not clean, it's unclean with a lot of desires covering it. The moment some desire is fulfilled, then that mind will reflect that infinite happiness within us, and we experience that small happiness for some time. So the beauty is, removal of desire is equal to happiness. Now there is a beautiful logic. We'll develop further in further talks. I hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of happiness and enjoyment bringing this talk to all of you. This is all nothing but the ancient wisdom transmitted from one guru to another. I learned all this from my gurus. Had the good fortune of learning from them. And the only thing is, let us share this ancient wisdom in a contemporary form, which all of us can understand and appreciate, and slowly start integrating and applying it in our lives. So I'll have to stop at this point due to time limitations, and we will see whether we can schedule other talks to continue further. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om. Best wishes to all of you. Shubhamastu, samasta sanmangalani bhavantu.